Real life couple right here. Arguments may happen.
Punch him in the face.
But love prevails. It's like a TV show.
7 months ago, I bought my first investment property. This old thing right here. Basically, had to redo everything in here. Hadn't been touched since the 80s. And the minute we got the keys, we got to work. We started scraping popcorn ceilings, ripping up old carpet. After many months of living on concrete, we finally got some new flooring. We've done a lot. And after all that, we still don't have covers on our outlets. But that's a whole other issue. We'll get those covers on there eventually. But basically that leads us to where we're at today. Working on the kitchen. We've got a lot of it done so far, but now we're getting started on the backsplash. Never done backsplash before, never used a wet saw, never done any of this. So gonna learn all of it today, figure it out, and hopefully it goes well. So let's get into it. I should have watched a video on how to do this. You didn't? No. So in order to get that edge looking right, I'm gonna have to cut it in a certain, I don't know. I'm not feeling confident about this cut. Not exactly sure how this thing works. I guess you're supposed to like make grooves.
Feels like crack it almost.
Alright.
Well.
Look at this guy, hard at work, using the wet saw. This very much looks like cookies and cream ice cream, but I've been wanting to eat it all night. Totally would if it didn't kill me. All right, it's after midnight, so I gotta whisper, but we finally finished up the first round of this whole thing. So round number 1, we put it all on the wall, and then we let it dry for 24 hours, and then, or cure, some would say. Dry might not be the right word. And then tomorrow, round 2, we'll be putting the grout in there, and then we let that set. And then round 3, we'll be putting a grout sealer in it. So that's it for tonight. Productive day. Good night, world. All right, it's the next day. Kylie and I are taking out all the little spacers. Gonna get ready to grout, and I guess we were a little tired last night because we literally just missed one. We just completely forgot to do that. It's finally happened. We're done with the kitchen. But before we show you what it looks like now, we need to show you what it looked like before. So let's take a walk down memory lane. So as you can see, we have this gorgeous wallpaper that we will be leaving.
Yes, we will be tearing it down very soon.
This torn up. We're gonna do a lot of cosmetic stuff that you can do cheap, fairly cheap if you do it on your own. So here's the kitchen. I actually kind of like the layout. I think it's got some good potential. Want to rip this off and make it a little more open. Just end up ripping all this out and make little floating shelves. We're gonna do new countertops, paint all the cabinets white.
My favorite part. But I'm going to take this on as my own personal project. And there's a way that you can paint appliances. So I'm gonna sand this down, clean it, make it look brand new. It's gonna look really cool. So
that'll be a cool way to save some money. We're gonna refurbish those, try and find some nice stainless steel on Facebook Marketplace. Same with the vent hood, same with that.
So as you can see, the kitchen obviously needed a lot of work, and it took us, this was easily the hardest and longest project that we've done in the house so far. I know a lot of you guys are excited to see it, so let's show you what we did. Okay, so the first part of the kitchen is the little dining area, and I'm obsessed with this whole corner because of the natural light. But basically we painted the walls and, what is that called? The wood, the siding?
Yeah, a little siding.
Whatever it's called. We painted it all white just to brighten it up in here. And then I actually found this pendant light at Habitat for Humanity, the Restore, and it was on sale for $5, okay? And the string was like way longer, so the light would have like came down to here, because I think it's an outdoor light, but I liked it for this kitchen. And so my dad and Bronson shortened the string, and then they hung it themselves. I was very proud of them. Okay, this was actually the last project of the kitchen that me and Bronson just did, but we decided to paint this door, and it was this horrible, ugly brown color, and we decided to paint it black just to kind of accent all of the handles in the kitchen and the beams in the living room. And I think it turned out really good. We have some spots that we kind of messed up on, so we still have to do that, but overall, this is like my favorite space.
So coming into the kitchen, we had this huge cabinets that hung over this whole thing and kind of blocked all the light and just kind of cut the whole room up. So the first thing we did when we moved in is just completely ripped it out and wanted to make it all completely open. And then from there we painted the cabinets all white to make it much brighter and just more modern feeling. It just felt so dark and old, and we hated the feeling of it. So painted everything white, got all black hardware, and now we're really happy with it.
So picking out the granite was actually kind of difficult for us because obviously we wanted to go with what's in style, and what's in style is marble right now. And so since this is a rental home for Bronson, marble's very expensive, if you guys didn't know. So we ended up going with the cheaper option, but it actually looks great in here, especially with the black handles and like all of the fixtures that we chose. So I'm really happy with how this turned out. And then we also decided to do a new farmhouse sink. And then we also decided to do a new stainless steel sink, and this is the most amazing thing. The old sink was so grungy and yellow and gross and just disgusting. And then for the backsplash, me and Bronson literally got in a few arguments over this because we could not decide on what to do. At first we were thinking like a black backsplash and kind of like make the kitchen very modern with the black backsplash because it's something different. But after a lot of conversations, it would just be too dark in here and kind of like enclose the kitchen. So we went with the white, ended up finding these tiles, and they're kind of not perfect tiles. Like they're a little bit of a brick look. They have like this bump to them, if that makes sense. And then we ended up doing gray grout to make them kind of pop out a little bit. And I really love how it turned out.
So while we were doing all these renovations, Kylie was going to the resale store, Facebook Marketplace, and kind of scouring all over looking for appliances. So she found this for a real affordable price, used on
that one was a Restore.
So yeah. This was the resale, and I think this was also resale actually.
Restore, but yeah.
Restore. So we got two really nice stainless steel appliances for about half the price, probably even cheaper than what we normally would have got. So it makes the kitchen look so much nicer and newer. But in order to do this, we had to build out a full area for it. So we had to cut out these cabinets up here, build a faux cabinet right here, build siding here, and fit it up in there. Really happy with how it's turned out. It actually looks, you can't really tell that we had to build it out. So fits perfect, looks like it should be there.
Easily my favorite part of the entire kitchen. When we moved in, they had these old ovens and my eyes like went directly to them, and I asked the guy as he was like giving us a tour, I was like, do these ovens work? Like, are they like still in good working condition? He was like, yeah, they work. They're a little dirty, but they work. And so I convinced Bronson to let me restore them. And so they're a little dirty now just because we've been doing like renovations and stuff, but basically all I did was paint these front parts white rather than like the dingy yellow that it was, and just clean everything else, and they work perfectly. Seriously, we've had like They're just amazing, and I can't rave about them enough. And I think they give the house, like, it keeps some of the character of the house, you know what I'm saying?
So we painted the cabinets, ripped out some cabinets, got all new fixtures, new hardware. Kylie revamped the little oven thing, did all the backsplash, and the last thing to do was these floating shelves and this little shiplap type thing. Now the floating shelves were so much harder than we thought. Kylie's parents helped us with that, and they had plans to come over at like 9 a.m. and be gone by noon. They ended up staying all day till like 11:30 and then all day the next day as well. This took so much longer than we thought, but turned out perfect. All we did was buy the lumber from Home Depot, cut it to our dimensions, got a certain drill bit to drill into the tile, and stuck it right up there with big screws about that big. Took a long time, a lot of work, a lot of stress, but looks great. And these, kind of the same thing. We thought it'd go a lot quicker than planned. Basically just cut these, what are they called?
Plywood?
This is like, oh, it's the tongue and groove wood. So we bought the tongue and groove so that we could have this little gap where it looks really nice. And basically just put it up there with liquid nails, hammered it in, and painted over it. So we thought we'd put up a little thing that kind of looks like shiplap, make it look a little nicer, and I think it did. What do you think?
I think it looks good. Another thing about these floating shelves is we actually did the backsplash before the floating shelves, which on our part was super dumb because it made our job so much harder with the floating shelves.
We initially, the whole plan, we planned it out. We were gonna do like the base of the floating shelves and then tile around it and then just stick the floating shelves on at the end. And then we did the tile, and then at the end we were like, wait, we completely forgot to do the floating shelves.
Yeah, we literally just completely spaced and like just kept tiling, and we were like, oh my gosh, once all the tiles were on the wall, we were like, the floating shelves, what are we gonna do? Luckily, there is a way to do it, but if you're trying to do floating shelves over backsplash, don't do it the way we did it, okay? There's a much easier way.
Yeah, it's also much cheaper because you have to buy a drill bit that drills into the tile, and that drill bit alone costs like 50 bucks. So this turns out to be a lot more expensive project than you'd think.
I'm really excited and happy about how it turned out.
Yeah, I'm super happy with how it's turned out as well. I think it was a long process, but finally, basically done. There's still some things that we need to do, like little touch-ups. Like we need to add a little more paint on the cabinets where we got grout. Need to touch up the doors a little bit of paint here on the wall. We also still have a ton of outlet plates to put on. But other than that, I think we did a pretty good job. First time ever doing this.
Yeah.
So, been a big learning process. The next house is gonna go a lot easier because just the order of events that you do things in, I've learned if you do it in a certain order, you kind of have to take one step back in order to take a step forward. Like you'll do a project and then you realize, wait, if I would have done that first. There's just a whole process that if you do things out of order, makes it a lot more difficult. And we did a lot of things out of order. Yeah. So next time, it'll be a lot better of a process. Won't take 8 months and we'll get it done a lot quicker.
Yeah.
But, oh, jinx.
It was so fun doing this, and honestly, we've learned a lot. A huge thank you to my parents.
Yes, they were here
every day, like every time we did something.
It was lots of long nights and lots of weekends over the last few months to get this done, and they were here for a lot of those long nights. So, thank you, Marty and Chrissy. This has been so awesome. Really happy with how it's turned out. But we have a lot more renovations to go with this house, so if you're interested, like, follow along, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, because our next project is the master bathroom. You don't want to miss it.